Hi, this is Adam from Beyond Medicine. Today I'd like to talk about Immortality Tara. Okay, so Immortality Tara is one of the strong ones. It has 5 levels of immortality in 5 new levels. So it's on the same strength level as the V12, which has 8, and the Immortality Forever, which has 7. So it's a little bit weaker than that, but still quite potent. So the reason I've made Immortality Tara is that it goes very nicely with Immortality Forever. Often they're used together. These two mantras are practiced together. Immortality Tara and Ushnisha Vijaya are practiced together as practices because they go very well together because they're both long life and radiant health remedies. There's 3 of them. There's Tara, the White Tara, there's Ushnisha, and there's Amitaris. So I'm doing the second one, the Tara. Now Tara is considered to be White Tara in particular. There are many aspects of Tara, but this aspect of Tara, the White Tara, is considered to be the mother of all the Buddhas. So in a sense, when we have the Ushnisha, we have the compassion of the Buddhas and the power of the Buddhas, and this is the mother of all the Buddhas. So it's really that maternal held space where we have a capsule for the process to play out. With Ushnisha, there's a lot of processing. It's like you get thrown into it and a lot of stuff starts to happen. Things start to move around. A lot of patterns come to light. The subconscious starts to be brought to light. And this is why I brought out the Tara, because, often when we're doing that, if we feel held in that process, the whole thing becomes quite easy. But if not, it can be quite tricky. So what I personally take is I'll take Ushnisha in the form of Pure Forever, and then I'll take the Immortality Tara, and then I'll take the Gaia as well. The Gaia has a mantra in it which connects to the Tara and the Ushnisha as well. So they all work very well together with the symbiosis, but one can quite happily just take the Immortality Tara and the Pure Forever. Then you've got both of these aspects. So you'll have the power of the Buddha, the compassion of the Buddhas, and the mother of the Buddhas all in one. So, for people who want a slightly gentler passage through the whole thing, I would recommend that. The Immortality Forever is amazing. It's very powerful, but it can be quite stimulating, especially after a while. So that's why I made the Tara something slightly softer, something slightly gentler, something more held. But I like to keep including the Ushnisha in the form of the Pure Forever because then it allows us to continue with this process of clearing of the realms in ourselves and bringing the subconscious and the unconscious to light. They say that White Tara is there to give people long life and radiant health because then they can practice the teachings for longer. But I mean, obviously that's the Buddhist narrative, but it applies to everyone equally. It'll just nourish the channels so that one's more likely to live a longer, healthier life. So that's not where I stopped with this. Okay, there are those 2 components in there, and that's what goes so well with the Pure Forever. But into that, I've added the Norse rune, the Bioch rune. It's also known as Birkenau. People know it often as the Bluetooth symbol, but it's a Norse rune, and it's a Norse rune of connection. Now, the way it was explained to me by a Norse practitioner was that it allows bits that have been disconnected to reconnect. And often this is a huge part of healing, that bits that have been separated, whether it's a nerve or organs or cellular communications or improper, in Chinese medicine, there's a lot of talk about the organs communicating with each other and information passing between the organ systems. So what this does is it takes the bits that have been disconnected from each other and brings them back together. So it's about unifying them and bringing healing through that. So, I decided to incorporate this rune because it seemed like a very useful way to, bring the Norse cosmology into the whole healing system because it has a lot of very powerful processes in it, which we can use. Now, it's not only the rune. The rune has been made by an advanced practitioner in the Norse in the Norse tradition, but she put the rune in the water and then she chanted the rune into the water as well. So it's like a double version of that. So that's been added, and that kind of allows the Tara to reach into areas that might not normally be allowed to get to for whatever reason. They just seem to go very well together. But there is more. So in addition to that, and here I was looking at the whole longevity thing. Now, Ushnisha looks at longevity from as we clear the subconscious and unconscious patterning, right? And by doing that, we obviously remove the cache of what causes us to get disease. But into the Tara, I've added astragalus, which is Astragalus membranicus. It's a Chinese adaptogen. And this has been brought to my attention a few times. It's the substance, and when I looked at it, it stimulates telomerase, and telomerase is the enzyme that stops the telomeres from shortening. So it makes sure the telomeres stay long or grow nicely, which is part of what causes us to age if the telomeres are shortening. So this is going the other way; it's pushing the telomeres to grow. This is obviously part of the aging process and the reversal of aging process. Now, part of the immortality thing is I'm looking at all areas, conceptual, spiritual, memes, physical, in terms of like the jellyfish and the astragalus, in terms of like physical things that might stimulate the regeneration of organ systems and tissues. But I realized that I literally have to look under every rock because, all of these things, if we believe we're going to get old and die, we probably will get old and die. Now we can break this belief structure and we can take something which makes us feel younger and more youthful. But, we need to really, but we need to, on the physical level, we need something that's going to stop the telomeres from shortening, which is what causes us to get old and die. Now, when I fed this astragalus version I made to a Chinese medicine practitioner, she said she felt it drawing into her bones and nourishing the bones. Now, one of the things that astragalus does is nourishes the kidney chi, which is what the jellyfish does as well. But the bones are obviously fed by the kidney chi. So, if the bones are nourished, it'll prevent osteoporosis, for example, and bone density from lessening. But there's more with the astragalus. It also stimulates the immune system. It's a major immune stimulant, so it's useful for coughs, colds, flus, but also just to generally stimulate the T cells. It also stimulates collagen production in the skin, so it'll tend to keep one looking younger. In addition to keeping the cells younger, it'll actually stimulate collagen production in the skin. So this is quite a magical herb on many levels. I mean, and like all adaptogens, it helps one to adjust to stress more easily. So, when we take this, it allows us to take on more without being disturbed by it because our capacity is greater, because we're operating at a more calm level. It's like the engine is revving at the right pitch. If it's revving too high, we're obviously going to be burning too much of whatever oil or petrol, and if it's too low, we might stall. But if we bring it to just the right level and it's revving at just the right level, there's less friction, there's less wear and tear on the car, it runs more smoothly. So when all three of these components are put together, or four components, because we've got the strong jellyfish component, we've got the Tara mantra, we've got this Bioch rune, this Burkina rune, which is about reconnection, and we've got this astragalus, this Chinese adaptogen, which is one of the plants used for prolonging life. We really have a very powerful substance here. I'm looking as I understand what we're facing when we look at death more, I'm more able to, like, if you like, plug the leaks in the boat, because some of the leaks are conceptual. As I said, believing we're going to die will lead us towards death. The memes we get fed, like, oh, death and taxes, that's a meme we get fed and we buy into this. But what if we were to break these memes and take a different view? But our body needs to tell the same story. We have to feel it on a physical level. The body has to feel younger and stronger, and then we're more likely to be able to go out into the world and express it, right? But we still have to come up against everyone's narrative of like, well, of course you're going to get old and die, you know, all of that. We have to oppose that. And this is why the New Immortals group on Facebook was created, to give people a place to express what's happening to them, the general youthening effects of the body, and play with it. I think, you know, for me, that has become my morning substance taking. I'll take the Tara, I'll take the Pure Forever, so that's got the golden spiral, the creation, the Shazandra, and the Ushnisha. So it's got that. It's got the Tara, which works nicely, I mean, in the Tara. And then I'll take the Gaia, because Gaia plays nicely with the Ushnisha because it's part of the lineage. So when I take that, it's like it feels like all bases are covered, and I'm going through my process, and I'm being held in this process. I'm physically youthening, and I'm being held in that process, and the body is getting stronger. That's one of the other aspects of astragalus, is that it builds muscle, right? So obviously, if you're in a more anabolic state, it's much easier to build muscle. Younger people, it's much easier to do these sorts of things to keep a healthy bone density. So it's physically and physiologically keeping us younger, while the jellyfish is bringing about this rejuvenation process. So I really feel with Immortality Tara that it's something very special. It's not meant to replace anything else. It's really meant to go hand in hand with the other ones. And this is what I tend to find. I develop something and then I say, oh, well, wait, there's a bit of a hole here that I haven't patched, and something might come through that. So if I patch that hole with another remedy, then we make sure that the screen is solid, nothing gets through. And what's getting through in this case would be old age and disease and death. So we've already seen some radical cures from Ushnisha. You know, people who've had hectic stuff for years and it's just disappeared like within a couple of days. So we really are in the terrain of miracles, and you know, having Ushnisha Vijaya and Tara together, you know, on the same day means that we're taking two of these long life, you know, radiant health deities in one moment. And the nice thing is, because they're very similar, because they represent different aspects of the Buddha, they are very strong. Because obviously the Ushnisha is the story where it was that when it went out from the mind of the Buddha, it went and touched the minds of a million or millions of Buddhas, and then came back into his mouth, and then he chanted the mantra. So it is the voice, which is also the compassion and the power of the Buddha, and then the Tara is the mother. So we're fusing these here together when we take these together. The only possible concern with Tara, not concern, but consideration, is that because it's an immune stimulant, people with autoimmune diseases might want to be a bit careful of taking it, because anything that obviously stimulates the immune system, that's the problem in all these autoimmune conditions, rheumatoid arthritis and, you know, MS and the various other autoimmune conditions. So as long as people understand that, then it can be used safely to bring us radiant health. This is Adam from Beyond Medicine. Till next time.